Live Friday, 2 p.m. It is 2, Don, 2 Eastern Standard Time. You're in Denver, so it's high noon there, right?
Sure is. Beautiful day.
A beautiful day in Denver. I think you get one of the most days of sunshine out of any city in the country.
Yeah, I think about 312, if you can believe it. It makes a difference, believe me.
Yeah. It's Denver's a great place. I spent time out in Steamboat, Colorado. In fact, moved from New York City to Steamboat for 9 months during COVID to get out and escape uh, the terror city, I call it now. Everyone's getting terrorized in New York City, and it reminds me when I first graduated college in 1986 and went into the city, and didn't have a lot of money, and so always taking subways late at night, and there was some scary experiences that I had before the city, you know, um, kind of got cleaned up with a couple mayors that took the experience. It's interesting. They took the experience of being a New Yorker as the number one priority because they wanted to attract people from around the world and make sure the experience, the daily faculties, garbage being removed, the people on the street corners when you used to drive your car up, they used to actually like spit on your window and clean it up with a newspaper until you paid them, where they would squirt water and then take all the black ink off. It was crazy stuff going on, and it feels like it's back. Anyway, um, today, Don, what do we want to really touch on? The LinkTank. Every time we meet, we're going to come up with really one core concept that everyone can take away and use right away. Today, what are we coming up with, Don?
Well, that's really easy. Consistency wins the day. And you have to put that in context, which is it takes, LinkedIn's a long journey if you do it right, if you're relationship oriented, not transactional. And the key is showing up, being visible, being accessible, being dependable. And I think by doing something every day, even if it's just a little bit over time will compound. And based on very few people participating in a consistent way, you'll be in rarefied air.
Rarefied air. I love that. We spent a lot of time together. So there's a weekly mastermind that we're on together with my clients and our clients that you participate, and you come up with these lines that are just unbelievable. The one you came up with yesterday, it's not like we're entering on into LinkedIn and like we're fighting our competition for airspace. It's like literally nobody's on the field and like we're walking with our own, like two of our pals and our own ball, and we're going to come play on the field, and that's the game, right?
Well, that's the benefit of being a first adopter. And, what's so important is really understanding that when you know what you're doing, everything becomes easier, faster, and more fun. So a lot of people out there, if they're looking at LinkedIn like struggling, like challenge, like mystery, you're taking too much on yourself too soon and expecting too much from it. And really, people take themselves out of the game as opposed to putting themselves in the game. And I think that was the foundation for LinkTank is make it accessible, make it affordable, make it consistent Tuesdays and Fridays, 12 p.m. Eastern time. 2 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Mountain time. And, Mike is a real driver when it comes to learning, especially about LinkedIn, even more at teaching and just overflowing with value. And I've been consistent 2 years in a row, haven't
Two
missed
years.
a posting, have acquired 37,000
Wait a
followers.
second. Can you, in slow motion, repeat that? In 2 years.
Yeah, in 2 years, I've acquired 37,000 followers, thousands of valuable interactions, and more importantly, a visibility and a credibility that can only be attained by doing that on a daily basis. And here's the key: start before you're ready, because first of all, you'll never be ready. Second thing is you'll catch up. What you do one day teaches you what you need to do the next day. And if you follow the breadcrumbs you're putting out there, all of a sudden you're going to master something in much quicker time. And I think me and Mike are as much into teaching as any other element of the value we bring. And there's so much opportunity that, Mike makes a point, of giving out your best stuff primarily because most people can't or won't take advantage of it.
Yeah,
And right?
that
And you attract the ones who do, and we bring value. So, Mike, why don't you?
yeah, yeah. So let's talk about a couple. Let's break down a couple of these now. One, um, consistency. I remember, I've been at it now for probably close to 3 years, and I started with a couple thousand people that had LinkedIn for such a long time. And then I heard Gary Vaynerchuk speak almost 3 years ago, and he said, if you're not dominating LinkedIn, you're a fool. The opportunity is enormous. And he broke down why. And I understood it because I dominated, Facebook a decade ago, not under my brand. I was partnered with John Asseroff. So we blew up his brand, 1 million followers, and we used to get 10, 20, 30,000 people seeing each video. And it was quite fascinating. We were like, at that time, Facebook was relatively new. We're like, oh, this Facebook stuff's great. And then they were bribing us for amazing content by giving us organic reach. There's a payoff. And the social media platforms, they're weird platforms. They're sneaky platforms, I should say, and weird. Traditional media, radio, television, cable, the big challenge is producing the content. And you've now seen what happened to Netflix. Their stock's down big, but when Netflix first came out, Disney was on Netflix, ESPN was on Netflix, TNT, they were all on Netflix because Netflix had this distribution and they had the privilege of having all these other people's content. And then Disney's like, wait a second. Marvel's like, wait a second. This is our content. And now it's easy to distribute it. So we're off. Now you pay us
Mhm.
$12 a month. But the challenge for media companies has always been the content. That's the key. Because with good content and good distribution on radio, TV, cable, you can crush it on advertising. That's how it works. It's a simple formula. With crappy content and distribution, you're cooked. And with good content and no distribution, you're cooked. So with social media, we're the content producers and we're the consumer. It's this odd relationship. So in the beginning, they need to reward us for producing content. Now, we won't go into the various types of content because most of the content that's getting produced is crap. But let's just say that they need to reward us for content, and they do that by organic reach, views. Now, normally, when you're advertising online, you're paying for that. You're paying. It's cost per 1,000 views, so you're paying for that. But we do it. Everyone has done it because they're helping us build our business. We'll keep giving them content. Now with Facebook, we didn't know what was going on. We were like, oh, this is great, and then they just started taking it all away because they got to the point where they had 1 billion people, everyone producing content and engagement. The news feed was humming, and they just jammed it with advertising. And they did $36 billion in advertising in 2021. So it's gotten to the point now where for Facebook, they're actually paying for content in a different way. So my brother, this is shocking to me. He's a teaching golf pro, and he loves to do what do you call it? It's not push-ups where you just sit like this on your elbows, uh, planks, and then he repairs docks. So in the mornings, he does golf things and he does his elbow things and talks about cool docks he's doing. Facebook just cut him a check for $1,200.
Hmm.
$1,200 because they're paying for his content. It's not like he has maybe 1,000 views. Maybe he doesn't have like a big audience. So you can see what the business model is, and now we're in this place where it's LinkedIn and they're paying us with this organic reach, big views. In fact, today it's crazy. Maybe next week we'll show it. Don, we just had our first client that got 1 million views on a single post.
on one post.
Oh my God! He just shared this morning an image. It's in the portal. 1 million views. So
Yeah,
that's
that's incredible. You know, and when someone is providing that opportunity, not to take advantage of it, and not to understand what the advantage to taking advantage of it is crucial to someone being successful or more successful. And then it becomes the message. Really, I mean, if you're going to get the audience, if someone's going to seed an arena for you, right, and allow you to express whatever you think has value to both you and them, why aren't you doing it? And believe me, it's not because people don't want to be successful. They don't know where to turn or who to turn to join up, because I think the super leverage LinkedIn brings beyond the organic reach is the ability to amplify your message through others, right? So if you've got a group that you're working with like LinkTank, and we're looking to really expand this in time, the knowledge share is incredible, for one thing. The other thing is the support. You know, I've got my own little group, and it's mostly a hands-on group on Wednesday mornings. And it's amazing in 6 months how six of the people have gone from where they were to where they didn't think they could be. And not just because of LinkedIn and maybe some of my support, but just having the roadmap, you know, in order to follow it, because everybody can do what you need to do to be successful, but you need to take the time to learn it and to be able to be shareable and teachable. And I think
yeah.
if you have that, you can be consistent and successful.
Yeah, and it goes back to the point that we want to bring out today for everyone is the consistency. So consistently doing the wrong thing is going to get you consistently bad results. Consistently doing the right thing is going to build. And this is not a fast game. It's like all of a sudden tomorrow you're going to turn on, something that you learn, and all of a sudden your life's going to dramatically change on LinkedIn. No, it builds, and it's an investment. And one of the things that I always refer back to Gary Vaynerchuk, but I think he's awesome because I think he's awesome. But he did a very successful NFT launch, and it's one of the most successful, and it will be the next most successful ever over the next 10, 20 years. He looks at it like a 50-year play. But there were people literally saying, it's not fair. You had such a successful NFT launch because you have this big community, and of course your community is going to buy it. And he went batshit ape on these people. He's like, who are you to tell me? I invested the last 15 years of my life in my community, giving. And like, it's the numbers that he shows about his consistency. I think for like 2 or 3 years, he said he answered almost every tweet personally, engaging, understanding, building, giving. And so for people to say, oh, your NFT is, it's not, it doesn't count because your community bought it, they missed the entire point. This entire world going forward is all about community. And this is the investment that each of us are making, whether you're a lawyer or a doctor or you're a corporate executive at a Fortune 500 company, or it doesn't matter. It's every industry where your customer resides on LinkedIn. You have the opportunity to stake yourself as a thought leader and get people to really follow you. And when you're staked as a thought leader, it shifts everything. I remember, Don, when I was first starting and following you, and like I said, I had like 3,000, and it took me 5 months. I mean, I had Gary Vaynerchuk tell me what to do, but then I just horsed it out myself because I didn't have a mentor or a group like what we're talking about to really just shortcut that. I had to figure it out. And I was watching you. I've been watching you since I started, and that you used to put up 10,000. Thank you. So 10,000, and you used to thank all the people that got you to 10,000, and then 15,000. You said thank all the people that got you to 15,000, then 20,000. And it was such a, it's great to share the benchmarks that you made, but you're always connected to the people that got you there.
No, it's, I almost forgot what I used to do. And what I always found is transforming LinkedIn to what you want it to be. And based on that, I wanted to involve everybody. So when I said it's 11,000, I used to have my headline was just the number I was at until it went to 12,000. And I used to have to go to Google Images to find the 12,000 or the 13,000 background that I needed for it. But everybody got behind it, right? And it became like, hey, let's go to 14,000, or when we get to 20,000, let's celebrate. And, at that point, I decided no one really cares about me or you. They care about themselves, right? So that's where I made it value facing to the client what I could do or what I could help somebody with. And the essence is with LinkTank, if you can't do it, we believe we can do it with you. And I think that bridges the gap that's really missing, because people start out with a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, but without a lot of context or best practices, they don't see it happening. The good thing you just mentioned too is, this isn't going to get built in a day. So whatever you do in one day isn't going to turn the corner. But at the same time, no matter how bad you are, it's only one day that won't mean anything in the future either. Right. So the benefit is you're not going to get rich overnight, but you're not going to get poor either. And what I learned in 40 years of founding and being CEO of my own companies, it was always who I was with, not what I was with. Because when I was with the right people, we figured out how to make it right. I've had great deals with mediocre people, always turned out mediocre. So, it's not where you start, it's how fast you start climbing. And, I know everybody out there wants to do better, especially anybody listening to this. And the question is, where do you find better? And I always go back to look at our profiles, look at our activity. When I search somebody, I always say, what are they doing? Because then I know what kind of situation they're in and how involved and committed they are. And if there's one thing, like Mike had mentioned, really being consistent, showing up every day. It's not so much what you do as much as how you do it, right? If you just have a really good thought and you want to share it, it's sincere, it's authentic. You can have two personas on LinkedIn, right? You might as well be who you are, be that upfront, save time. And what I found is I'm getting more done in less time because I'm learning how to sort better. I'm learning how to qualify and identify prospects to say, yeah, I know what works and I know what doesn't. And it moves a lot faster for everybody involved. So, I think consistency, waking up and having a discipline, whether, if it's exercise, if you do it every day, in time, they had what was called the K curve. And what it was a straight line going up and down, and then two lines separating, one going up and one going down. And the question was, if you ate a carrot every day for 20 years, or you ate a cheeseburger every day for 20 years, what would your K look like, right? Would you be at the top or the bottom? And what I learned is every day, whatever you do takes you closer or further away from your goal. And it's just a matter of piling little things on little things over time that win the day. What do you think, Mike?
Yes, I'm just looking up here because
Oh, we got some people, Lance.
so let's see. You tell me if are these the K curves?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So you've heard of that, huh?
no, I just looked it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you do a little thing over time, right versus wrong. I mean, smoke a cigarette, it won't kill you one time.
I like this one here. It's I don't know what the K shape recovery, but you're this escalator up if you do a little thing right every time, or the stairs going down.
Exactly. So you can apply that to any good versus, let's say, not good activity, which will separate the professionals from everyone else.
Yeah, that's I don't know if that'll come up any better. Yeah, that comes a little easier to say. Yeah, and so it's and then the thing that we were talking about, which I think makes it so much easier, is that if you were doing this and you had all your competitors doing it as well, then you have to be consistent and good. And what we're saying is you have to know what to do and be consistent, and you will get good. And that's where I think, okay, it's great to get mentors or be in a group, a like-minded group. That's what we're doing with the LinkTank, is bringing together a lot of people so everyone can share what's working and what's not. And as a group, we can grow. But it goes back to the other thing I think you touched upon, but people wouldn't necessarily catch it, is that the incredible thing with LinkedIn is that nothing's permanent, because you do a post today, and maybe it wasn't your best and you flubbed up, whatever it was. In 2 weeks, nobody's ever going to see that again. And it's the best opportunity for you to really practice. I mean, with cloud selling, a big part of our onboarding, I take people through, many different hour-long sessions on ideal customer and understanding their true pain points and the messaging. And I find that, people have done that exercise before, but if you haven't recently, really did a deep dive in it, a lot of your communication that you're using is off.
Mm-hmm.
And what 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 we're doing and working with people and helping them do is say, look, this is the place to get your communication on. And it doesn't matter if the first 30 days, if it's off and it's off less and it's off less and it's off less. And you'll know, because you'll know the people that are being attracted to your conversation, and you'll be able to make these course corrections and really dial it in and understand, like, okay, now my languaging is resonating with my ideal customer. But that's the fun part of the journey. And I think that's where, depending on the glass half full or half empty, some people see it as, that's intimidating because I don't want to be wrong. And then the others are, I get an opportunity to be wrong, to be better, with
Mm-hmm.
virtually no negative impact.
Well, if you have proper context and real life experience like both of us have, and I'd like to emphasize that me and Mike are really top tier when it comes to LinkedIn, but we've got a vast, huge reservoir of business experience beyond LinkedIn and before LinkedIn. So when you combine real business experience, marketing experience, and LinkedIn strategy, and people who are with us who swear by us, and I swear by them, uh, this is something we're doing because we believe it's time has come. The opportunity is so huge that you need a steam shovel to take advantage of it. It's such a great opportunity, and there's plenty of room at the top for everybody.
For
That's
everyone.
the beauty of it. No one has to worry about taking someone's opportunity, but what comes around goes around, and hopefully what we're sharing can really shortcut someone's learning curve, accelerate their success. And in today's world, I would operate with a sense of urgency. And the beauty of it for those listening, whatever you're doing today, if you can adopt a lot of what Mike and I are talking about today, you've got a clear runway for 20, 30 years. The first person who bought a McDonald's for a couple grand, and everybody in their family was saying, what's that? Lived to learn what it really was and who the visionary was. And I believe everybody has greatness, and the key is to get out of your own way, trust somebody or somebody's for a period of time, and you can always go back to what you did. Like Mike says, whatever you do today will be forgotten tomorrow, which means it can be returned the next day. But also, what if you could do better? You got to look at risk and reward. If someone says, here's a golden opportunity, and you say, no, I don't feel like investing the time or the commitment, but what if? Just what if you were wrong? And I always say, have you ever been wrong before? Could it happen again? Challenge yourself, whether it's with us or not, to be better and to be teachable, and to our message today, consistent.
Yeah. All right. So I'll give my wrap up, because I love listening to what you share. So I see, um, I see three archetypes. I see the one archetype that doesn't start. They see what's going on, but there's every excuse in the world not to start. I'm too busy. I don't have the resources. I don't understand exactly how to do it. I stink at technology. I don't want to be the person that people see. I mean, there's a million reasons not to start. That's archetype one. Archetype two is the people that are inconsistent. And so that's today's message. And I think the exercise that we want to give everyone is that if you're in archetype one and you're making excuses for not doing it, then here's the exercise for you. For the next, don't even go for the next 10 business days, just go on LinkedIn for 5 or 10 minutes. You pick, but be consistent whatever you pick. And don't create content. Just go find in your keyword for your category other people's posts and just get yourself involved. Comment on someone's post. Add some great value. Find a group or an event. There's millions of people that have the same interests as you, and just get the routine of kind of just stepping out. That's archetype one. Archetype two, from the ones that are inconsistent. Well, obviously, if you're on and off and on and off, then your invitation is to spend a half hour a day. And then the other part, the other archetype is what I call 3 feet from gold, where you've been digging and digging and digging, and this is what you shared before. You're going at it alone. There's so many people giving bad information that haven't they're just spewing information about LinkedIn and what to do, and they're not doing it themselves. They've never done it themselves. They don't have any clients that have been successful doing it, but they're a mouthpiece. So you listening to bad information is a problem. So 3 feet from gold are the people that are really doing, and putting effort in, and then they've dug 10 feet down, which is a lot of work, and I know it is, and then they give up. But if they had to look at a cross
Mhm.
section where they were, they're actually 3 feet from the goal. So I invite everyone to, depending on the archetype, to step in. And the theme for today is consistency. Do something for the next 10 business days. Don and I we live on LinkedIn. Message us. We've got the LinkTank page. Go on the LinkTank page and say, "Hey, guy, I was doing this and it didn't work," and we'll help you. We'll help you. No charge. Send Don a message. Send me a message. Follow us. Everything that Don's doing on his post, genius. Everything I'm doing on my post, almost genius. So just get involved. That's the theme. And so time flies. It's 2:28. So we're a little bit over. You want to give us a
Sure, sure. I want to just touch on what you just said, which was perfect, because that's how I got started really accelerating on LinkedIn. Is I looked at it like a new new land, new language, new culture, and I came in as a fresh citizen, wanted to be a good citizen. So I just drove around the parking lot, see where all the action was, who was getting all the comments, who was getting all the likes. And then I started to comment on theirs and really comment 2, 3 lines that showed I really either read their post or listened to something. And out of guilt, within 3, 4 days, they had to thank me to keep me going, right? And now all of a sudden we're meeting as peers, exchanging value instead of just reaching up, messaging somebody and say, let's do something. And after a while, you see what they're doing. And after a few months, like Mike said, I targeted 20 of the most prolific, successful posters on LinkedIn. I started to do my own thing after learning about the best of the best that I was supporting. And, there's 3 levels of learning. One is learning, teaching, and then teaching how to teach. And we're at the point where there's really no risk. Everything we're doing with LinkTank is guaranteed successful. So we're not looking to bring people along who can't be successful. And I think to Mike's point, we need you to do the same thing I just said I learned on the post and commenting. We need your insights. We need your feedback in order to understand what is the most relevant way of using this 20 minutes and the most relevant ways that we can continue to reach out and connect with each other. Because all the business that's done on LinkedIn is done off of LinkedIn. You can exchange money in LinkedIn. You can't do a lot of things that you can off of LinkedIn. And this is the bridge to get people from leaving something and picking it up later to have real life interactions with real relevant information that is actionable. And to what Mike said, if you do what Mike just mentioned, just because Mike mentioned it, not because you have to believe it or want to do it, but just do it for Mike and me, and come back next Tuesday and share your experiences. I think that would be the best takeaway, because what I learned is when you learn something, your excitement level is as high as it's going to be at that point. Every day you wait to take action on it, it becomes less interesting and exciting. So why not, even when we stop the call, do something for 5 minutes today on LinkedIn. And if you're in the second category, do it for a half an hour. And if you wonder, what did they just say and what did it mean? Reach out to us, message us. You'll be doing us a favor as much as yourself. And with that, looking forward to next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be consistent.
All right, everyone have it's for a lot of places in the world, it's holidays. So happy Passover, everyone that's celebrating Passover, Easter, and whatever other holidays you might be celebrating. Have a great one. Thanks for spending time with us, and send in questions and let us help you. Let us help you.
And thank you for everybody who did come today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.